Next, I would like to invite Brian Utley to stand up. And Brian just returned from Washington, D.C., and I've asked him to just say a few words about why he was out there and what in the heck were you doing out there. So please...
Don't ask him about his flight back, though.
Well, thank you, Dick. Some of you know I'm on the Contest and Records Board of the National Aeronautic Association. And one of our primary activities is observing and certifying world records and national records. So we have about 2 meetings a year, and at the same time, we usually coordinate the meetings with something else. Like on Wednesday night, we had an awards meeting where we awarded trophies for the most significant records of the prior year. And one of the attendees was an old friend of mine by the name of Jim Payne. Jim Payne was the pilot of the Paralon that set the world's altitude record of 76,000 feet in southern Argentina. So it was a great occasion, but the business meeting was on Thursday. And we were discussing, among other things, the emergence of the electric-powered aircraft and what that meant in terms of record setting, what kinds of records, how you manage it, and what to expect in the future. It happens that I was the observer for the first electric-powered records that were ever set. And that was, would you believe it, 5 years ago in California with a converted Long-Easy, Rutan Long-Easy, where the power plant had been exchanged for electric motors. And the speed record, it was done for speed records, short distance, 3 kilometer and 15 kilometer. And why is that significant? Well, one of the factors that we've spent quite a bit of time discussing was that electric-powered aircraft are run by batteries, and batteries have finite charges. And in this case, the case of the aircraft that I was observing, the endurance limit was 30 minutes. And since that time, there have been a number of world records, but I profiled every one of them in terms of how did they get whatever distance they were able to achieve. And it turns out that a good number of them were gliders, powered gliders, modified with a propulsive unit, namely a propeller and motor in the tail, or they put solar panels on the wings. Now, with a glider, obviously, if you want to reduce the amount of power you're consuming, or even you want to take advantage of air currents, it's easy, and you can go substantial distances. That's not going to last, unfortunately, because you'll soon run out of options with gliders when we think of in terms of records going over hundreds or thousands of kilometers. So we discussed the forecast for how rapidly electric-powered aircraft are going to evolve, what kind of performance should we be expecting, what kind of constraints should we be expecting when we go and become involved as observers and recorders and certifiers of national and world records. So, obviously an interesting subject if you want to look out to the future. Today, electric-powered aircraft are very highly constrained, as I mentioned, constrained to local airport flying. The first training aircraft have been built by Pipistrel. 5 of them are in California. The FAA has not gotten around to certifying them yet. They don't know how to certify electric-powered aircraft. Another issue we have to deal with. So we do get involved in a number of side issues which affect how well we can perform our primary mission. But we operate under the FAI and all the FAI rules, and we substantially affect the rulemaking process as well. So that was it.
Thank you.
I'm glad to be back. Thank you.
Yeah, great to see you, Brian. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your flight, which I haven't heard about yet. Were any manufacturers' representatives present at this meeting to help you predict the future?
Oh, no, but we have involvement with manufacturers. I have involvement with Pipistrel. There's a manufacturer in Colorado that has an aircraft under development called now called the E-Flyer. It was called the Sunflyer. It's now called the E-Flyer. And it has an endurance expectation of around 3 hours to maybe 3.5. But that's not a certified aircraft yet. They're working with the FAA to develop the certification rules for electric-powered aircraft.
Are the Europeans, where most of these aircraft are being designed and built, are they ahead of the U.S. in the certification?
Yes, they are. They're more aggressive in the certification. There are two spheres of development in Europe. There's Pipistrel with the Alpha trainer. That's their current product. And then there's the University of Stuttgart. The University of Stuttgart has an awfully long history in glider development, and they've been the other aircraft that have set world records have all come out of Stuttgart. But that's not a manufacturing entity. It's a research entity.
Right.
So they're all research type aircraft. So
Okay, thank you.
okay.
One other thing I wanted to bring to light is the fact that, what was it, 2 days ago, you celebrated the 60th anniversary of your very first glider flight.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Brian yesterday got the record for using the least amount of runway I've ever seen.
Wow.
I know I was confused. I thought it was a short field, and so I could see that fence coming toward me. Oh, yes.
Glad you're here today.
My pleasure.